Good afternoon and welcome to the 36th Sustainable Ag Conference, day 3. I hope you've been having a fabulous time networking and learning for the past 3 days. You have joined the session Local Farms, Food Waste, and Feeding Communities, which is presented by Alisha Street. My name is Karen McSwain. I am the Associate Executive Director for Programs at CFSA. And again, want to welcome you all here this afternoon. Please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat box and put any questions that you may have in that chat box. Alisha will be giving a presentation, and at the end of that presentation, she will address questions that folks have. Again, welcome, and I am going to hand it over to Alisha.
Thanks, Karen. And this is also Millie. I've got my little 7-month-old today with me. She's like my food justice guru. But yeah, I'm Alisha Street. I am the founder of the Bulb Mobile Markets. I definitely wanted to do a workshop on the mobile markets and what it does to address food insecurity, especially in the Charlotte area. Because there's such a rise in mobile markets, and what they do is significantly unique in terms of addressing food security and food insecurity issues on a whole. So I'm going to dive in. I'm doing a presentation strictly about the bulb and what we do, but I'm also going to mention other mobile markets in the Southeast that address the same things, and maybe in your area what you can do to maybe start your own organization if that's available. If there's other areas that you can help, I'm going to talk about how you can actually address that through other organizations that already are addressing those issues. So I will go onto my screen. And this is just, like I said, presentation on the bulb. I wanted to go over our mission. We provide barrier-free access to mostly local produce, as well as education on health and wellness to food insecure neighborhoods. I want to talk about how this started in Charlotte, North Carolina. I moved from New York as a social worker. So I basically knew social services through the New York City lens, where you could give someone a bus pass and they could easily get down the road to get access to food or resources on a whole. So when I moved to Charlotte and as a social worker, and I think close my video just because it might go faster. So when I started my journey in Charlotte as a social worker, I was helping veterans that were homeless. And I realized that when I referred them to services, it would take over hours to get to places that I referred them to. And then when I referred them to food services, they weren't getting fresh food, nevertheless, local food. So here I am going to local farmers markets on the weekend. They have plenty of excess food. And I was wondering why local food isn't as much in pantries or in other areas. So I started digging and started this mission. And I'm going to talk later on how I started it and how maybe, someone out there who has passion to start their own journey or work with another organization. Like, I'm going to talk about how we could accomplish that. The bulb's vision is we are creating a world where food is a right and not a privilege. We seek social justice, affordable and attainable food, art, and community. And so we believe that, the same food that you would get at a 5-star restaurant, which is mostly local food, should be on the tables of all communities. We purchase at the bulb from a food hub called Fresh List. They're a local food aggregator, and they make it really easy for us. So we purchase from over 25 farms on a weekly basis. And we also purchase some directly from farms. and spend over about 10,000 at this point in time, $10,000 a month on local food to put on our table for communities that have low food access. It's an amazing feat because just 5 years ago, we were only able to actually obtain enough for one neighborhood, and we were only working off donations of local food. So we've come a long way. So mobile markets, plus free donation-based model and no barriers to accessing quality nutrition, which that means people that come to our markets, they don't need a referral. We don't ask for IDs. We actually don't require donations. We say donation-based because like I said, food is a right, not a privilege. People are able to decide if they want to invest, if they can invest in or our organization. And not only that, giving somebody the opportunity to not feel like a number and use their dollars towards their own food, quality food, is a much different situation than getting a referral for services. And then at the end of the day, that really prompts healthier neighborhoods to thrive, and also empowers neighborhoods. This is a little montage basically of our team and what it looks like. And we're definitely not the only, like I said, mobile market out there. Mobile markets are on the rise across the nation. We just didn't have one in Charlotte by the time that I started the journey. So it's really amazing what our team can do. So Food Justice 101, there is this term food desert. Everyone kind of probably hears about food deserts, but it's politically considered incorrect these days because, you know, a lot of people that actually are in quote unquote food insecure areas, they do have access to food. It just it may not be the fresh food that we're talking about. So some people may have access to food, but it's not fresh food. So we use the term food insecurity. Most people have switched to that term because it moreover describes the population we're serving, which is the disruption of food intake or eating patterns because of lack of money and other resources. This disruption may be influenced by a number of factors, including unemployment, race, ethnicity, loss of transportation, and disability. So there are so many factors to food insecurity. It's not just one. It's not just lack of access or transportation. It's a plethora of things. Food justice. I am wholeheartedly in belief that the Bulb is performing food justice by just being directly within neighborhoods, serving mobile farmers markets in a donation-based fashion. People, like I said, can donate if they can. If they can't, you know, they still get food. We want to try to offer EBT options for donation. We offer like a variety, 25 varieties of food and up from local farms. Social justice goes along with food justice, where everyone gets a right to fresh food and resources. And if you don't know another term, food sovereignty is the right of all people to design and influence their own food systems and be afforded culturally appropriate and sustainably produced foods. This is really important to us because we can't just pop up in a neighborhood and bring vegetables that they may not be culturally aware of. For instance, we do serve a Hispanic neighborhood in Central Charlotte, and they are used to avocados and peppers and different things that we don't usually offer other markets. So we have to accustom and adjust our design in each neighborhood, do surveys, get information on how we can best serve each neighborhood. So it's really important to also serve neighborhoods appropriately. This is just a quote from urban.org, just explaining low income areas are designed in this, I guess in Charlotte area specifically, to not be located near food access points. And that is why the mobile market started as well, because in low food access points, we actually go and directly serve by way of a mobile farmers market. We go in a veggie trailer. We do drive-through farmers markets and deliveries now. So here's some statistics specifically related to North Carolina. I wanted to go over that because this is why, this is the very start of my research before the bulb began. You know, we're 10th in this state, or in the country, the hungriest state. I mean, that's really alarming to know that's where we live. In Mecklenburg alone, it's around 18% now of the population is deemed food insecure. In North Carolina, totally 13.9, and nationally 11.1. I mean, these are pretty staggering statistics. And I was wondering how we could address that in the Charlotte area. And sorry, Millie is now wanting food now that we're talking about it so much. So excuse me one second. Okay. Charlotte statistics for seniors. 10.7% of seniors live with food insecurity, according to Feeding America. 185,000 live within food deserts, according to Atrium Health. And over 50% live without transportation. And what I found too in my research with food insecurity in Charlotte and the surrounding areas, it's definitely varying, and there is old data. So there are a lot of research tactics going on now, and there's a ton of different dialogues being started to get more current data, but the numbers have, as you can imagine, gone up because of COVID, and the demand is quite high. And I know everyone's in different states and different places, so this is just capturing Charlotte, but basically North Carolina is one of the top 10 states of, basically a food insecurity emergency is what I would consider it. Again, states with the highest rates of food insecurity, North Carolina is listed. And then this is just a chart explaining that lower income leads to greater chronic health issues. Not only are people, and I mean, you can imagine it's correlated. People that don't have access to food are not going to have that access to help that they need. And those living in low income areas are not only food insecure, but, higher risk for chronic disease. All right, we're going to move on. So how do we actually serve? And this is, before I go here, I wanted to talk about how I did the research on these staggering statistics that have only gone up since the bulb started in 2016. But I also realized that there's no, like I said, fresh food in pantries. If there are fresh food, it's, on its way out. It's not really quality. And then I just started diving into food access organizations in Charlotte, making meetings happen, going to local farms, asking them if they have extra food, because I had no money to pay them at that time. I created a goal to, start doing fundraisers to pay them for food, because, farmers also have the issue of not especially small farmers, not being able to get adequate income to pay for their livelihood. So it's not easy to just ask for donations. So what I would do initially was get their food waste from farmers markets. And I would take that food waste, and what food waste essentially is what they couldn't sell at markets. And I would take it to neighborhoods, a couple of neighborhoods, and within minutes it would be all gone. So with that, with that connection to local farms, as well as organizations around Charlotte that were doing work, I realized there's no direct service of fresh food. And I'm sorry, guys, but my husband's a farmer and he's doing farm work right now. So I'm texting him to come get Millie. So, all right. But yeah, along with the research of organizations and farmers, I was able to begin the process of starting the bowl. I didn't reinvent the wheel. It wasn't happening. There was a small mobile market at the transit center at one time. They were ordering food they were outsourcing it, again, not locally, and selling it at the transit center. Whereas my mission was to get grant dollars and fundraising efforts to actually pay for the food, to give it for free. So yeah, step one, we identify and make outreach to food insecure neighborhoods. The way we identify food insecure neighborhoods are lack of reliable transportation, no access to public transportation, living more than 1 mile from a full service grocery store, unemployed or underemployed people. So we identify those that live in these circumstances, and then we start our work. So at this point in time, because of grants and fundraising, we're able to grow and purchase from local farmers. And we can talk more about the grant and fundraising process. We support local farms. It's a priority. I mean, this is why I'm here talking today. I definitely felt inclined to do a workshop because I feel that, there's a lot of food initiatives that don't include the local food system, and that's really inhibiting inhibiting the local food system to grow. Thanks, Ben. All right. So each season, it says we partner with between 10 to 20. That is definitely an old statistic for over, 25 farmers a week, and it varies, that we get local food from. Now it's so quiet, I can actually focus. Sorry about that, guys. So step 3 is food rescue. I haven't talked about this yet because this is a huge point as well. We do focus on the local food system, but, I was mentioning food waste from farmers. That's where we deemed the term food waste, because we realize it's perfectly good food, but it would have gone to waste if we didn't take it from the farms right after the market. They would have taken it home and composted it, which is fine. That's great. But if it can solve a food insecurity problem, then we need to figure out how to get this food and take it to communities. So we decided to reach out to a variety of grocery stores as well, including Trader Joe's. 40% of the nation's food is waste, and that is huge. It says 45% here, but I think the more accurate statistic is 40, but still 40%, 45%. It's a very alarming statistic. And the reason being is because, the easy approach is to throw it away, put it in compost. And yes, that is sustainable, but if we can use it to feed communities, we are definitely, that's what we do as well. So on our table, we do mostly local. That's our goal. So 80% of our markets are local and 20% are rescued. This rescued food from grocery stores are things that we can't get from farmers, like citrus fruits, fruits in general. It could be bread as well. So we offer that from this food rescue. I want to talk more about it too. This is a pretty huge situation as well. Some grocery stores can't give, it all depends on policies. Some grocery stores can't give because they're already tied to things like Second Harvest or other organizations. But then what I'm learning is there's pallets of food going out that aren't able to leave the pallets in time to get to pantries. And once they get to pantries, it's not edible, or it will last like one day or longer. So like, how can we intervene with these grocery stores where we can get items that in a quicker fashion and to more organizations? That's our goal right now. Step 4, we distribute the food to food insecure neighborhoods. That's kind of given. So the local food, rescued food, we take it to 12 neighborhoods. Other mobile markets, they go actually in buses around the city. I know some that they're not only a mobile market, but they're farms. So they grow food and then they take it to different farmers markets and have different setups, like affordable pricing models and sliding scales. But yeah, we set up tents, we do veggie trailer, and like I said, deliveries. Along with that, we definitely educate neighborhoods on cooking, growing with our mobile markets. We want to make sure that, there's a lot of things that local farmers you don't see in grocery stores, like patty pan squash, kohlrabi, things like that are given to us. We do have to work on, yes, we're supporting the local food system, but does that mean that the communities will eat what we have on our tables? Because, a lot of times items like kohlrabi and patty pan squash and even Chioggia beets that don't look like red beets, they're not selling as well at markets for farmers. So we get those items at the bulb, and we have to do a lot of education around cooking these items so people will actually be enlightened and know how to cook them. Like kohlrabi, for instance, when we started cutting that up and adding dipping sauces and actually cooking it on site, it was a hit. And, we can't really keep kohlrabi on the table too long. So it's a pretty interesting process. Step 6, I've talked about compost. Although we do deem ourselves almost no waste, we do have to compost what is not edible. A lot of times we get donated a whole case of avocados, and those can turn, as most of you know, within hours. So we do compost as well. And you've seen this graphic before, but here it is. Yeah, so this is just about our mobile market. We've got a schedule. We're really fighting food insecurity with, look at this beautiful product. We get local food. This is all local here, local. And then this is the rescue here, the apples and most of our fruit. That's just us, in a nutshell, the bulb. Our future is to start working on building out farms and food hubs. We want to grow our own food, become a part of the local scene. We also want to, get more food rescued from grocery stores, work with other organizations, make sure that it's streamlined. We're not duplicating services, which that means like if somebody were to go to the pantry, are they also going to us? In the Charlotte area, we're wondering if I mean, there's no way to tell if people are, going to all, food organizations. So we're trying to figure out a team of organizations in the food access realm all in one location so we can better serve those that are in need. But that's a long-term goal. We also want to have our own veggie bus line. So we want to integrate our services within the city structure, actually be a bus line that people can follow, get veggies on a commute. And, the transit center in most cities, a lot of food insecure people take the bus, and in transit hubs is where they would most, better be able to get their food. So we're trying to connect with city structures. So, with that said, I also wanted to talk about, in different cities that I might be talking to. You're probably, scattered throughout North Carolina, maybe in the Southeast. There's other, mobile markets, like I said, Feast Down East in Wilmington. There's Mobile Oasis in Greensboro, I believe. Charleston has a mobile market. We mimic our services from the St. Louis market. They do a veggie bus, and all of these markets that I'm mentioning, they really source from local food systems, or they grow their own food. And I do believe that, in doing this workshop, that we can really change up food access and food justice if we started growing our own food, began even community garden plots to donate to initiatives like this. If you're in a community that you have a food insecure situation, but you know that there's a pantry serving, how can you work with that pantry to pop up and do a farmer's market if you are inclined to grow? There's so many ways to tackle this issue, and I think we definitely have to build support around local farmers that already exist. They have a very large issue with getting rid of their food oftentimes. Even then, I live and work on a farm here, Street Fair Farm. Every week we have overproduced. And what do we do with that food? We give it right back to the bulb, but what if the bulb didn't exist? So then we give to pantries. But, at that point in time, after we give it to pantries or other organizations, we don't know, if they have to be referred or if the food's going to be stored correctly and if the food's going to be used. So, just wanting to get everyone's wheels turning on how they can actually go and start their own mission if there's no will created in your area, or how you can tag along to other organizations that are already serving populations. And the rural communities, I even suggest people that really have a passion for this, just how can you be an advocate for your rural communities? How can you do the deliveries of food yourself, or maybe talk to organizations on how to create a delivery service? And this all definitely comes down to funding. Without funding for the bulb, we couldn't do what we did. I definitely did some fundraisers with friends at first, started asking questions to local businesses. Could they do like $1 per beer at breweries, or, could you do a dish on your menu where you could donate back to this cause? And then all of a sudden people are talking and you're gaining momentum enough to actually pay for a market. And our markets, they range from about $1,400 a month. That serves about 50 people, 2 bags of fresh food, 50 families, I should say, fresh food a week. with the $1,400 model, and then it goes up from there, or down. If we're only serving like 25 seniors, we adjust to how much that would cost. And in reality, in the grand scheme of things, that is not a lot of money. Um, and grants and fundraising efforts are available at this time. I wanted to tell you to check in with Ashley or at the bottom of this presentation, or if there's a way I can send information about grants that you can look into. I am very much an open book with how to gain funding for this effort. I would love to shop talk with anyone interested on how to do that, or even start your own garden, or tag team with farms on how to grow more for initiatives to feed them, feed communities. So I'm going to stop here. I want to take any questions anybody may have. I hope that made sense because I had a baby crying throughout, but I am definitely here for any questions.
Had some questions in the chat that I can read for
I'm going
you.
down now.
One was, could you please talk about legal requirements for mobile markets as well as use of WIC, SNAP, etc.?
That is a great question. We have to have insurance, general liability insurance. We also all have to have our ServSafe certification to handle food. Since we don't sell the food, we don't necessarily have to have permits, but except for the general liability issue. I think you asked one more thing.
WIC, SNAP?
Oh, WIC and SNAP. We work at the county on SNAP. We do not offer WIC at this time, but there are ways to offer that through your county, I would say, contacts. So wherever you live, I would actually try to connect with your county liaison. Ours is at Charlotte, Abby Wyatt, but they have created a great pathway and also a mobile EBT reader. So that's how we take EBT donations, and yeah, we definitely offer that.
There was another question about what does education look like at the Bulb? How do you teach folks how to prepare things like chioggia, beets, or kohlrabi?
Yes, so we on site, we've had to stop doing the actual demos for COVID, but virtually or online, we provide recipe cards. When we were able to do cooking demos, we would chop up all the veggies, and just that was one of the part of the issues. People didn't realize that you could eat most of the things that we had raw. So, just teaching the fact that you can eat things raw, and you don't need a lot of ingredients, because a lot of people might be intimidated that they don't have funding for ingredients, or they might not have even the accessibility of a kitchen or cooking utensils. So basically, we do a lot of raw cooking, and when we do things on a hot plate, it's up to 3 more ingredients. So we try to keep it within a 3 ingredient max. And so we'll do like olive oil, lemon, salt, and pepper. And we'll teach people how to easily cook or roast vegetables.
There was another question of how much do you pay your community liaisons?
Yes, so we are all about doing $15 an hour as the minimum wage. We want to support that is the minimum wage. We'll start with 15 an hour, and we go up from there after 30 days. So we also give them free bags of food, of course, as 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 needed. And then some other benefits are mileage cards, and if they are able to hours benefits.
A few folks have asked how they could get access to your PowerPoint or the slides.
Yes, I can send that. I don't know if I can send that to Ashley, or I can also, you can reach me at my email, and I can send it to you through email.
If you can give me, if you don't mind, well, I'm not sure what the best way to do this is, but there were two folks. I see Yolanda and Carol. You were both interested in the PowerPoint slides, and we will figure out a way to get them to you.
Yeah, I can send them. Can I send them within this presentation?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Well,
But
I
we
will.
will figure it. I can follow back up with you, Alisha. I
Okay.
can connect with Carol and Yolanda. I can figure that out. That I can do.
Yes.
Do we have other questions from folks in the audience? Do you see that question? So do you have a full organization with a board, treasurer, 501c3, and paid employees?
Yes. So in 2016 we started kickstarting the bowl. 2017 we became official. We gained a board. We have a treasurer and an accountant, and we got our 501c3 last year, actually, because we were a program of Friendship Trays. It was another organization that I didn't want to be a 501c3 yet. I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. And so I became a program of theirs, but they decided to just focus on their Meals on Wheels initiative, essentially. So we became our own thing. So yes. And then we have 12 paid employees now. So we've jumped up quite a bit from just me in the back of a truck.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yes.
That's fabulous. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's been a wild.
I'm sure. Do we have other questions from folks? I'm going to do a scroll through here to see if we got them all, but please, if you're in the audience and you have another question.
Thank you guys. And, Millie, I should pay her for, really having some passion about this topic.
Well, I want to thank you.
She was making me sweat. And then,
It was very impressive, Alisha, being able to give a presentation while feeding and holding a crying baby.
Ben forgot her. He took Danny. And I was like, oh, he'll come back for her. And he didn't. So you guys got to see momming and presenting at once.
That's awesome. Well, this is the time usually when everybody in the audience gets to clap their hands and say thank you so much to you, Alisha. But unfortunately, you only see me. So I'm clapping for everybody when I say thank you for your time with us, and a great topic and very valuable, important work.
Yeah, and feel free to email me if you got my email. Email me anytime. Follow us on Instagram. I see Ashley shared that, and I look forward to talking with you guys.
Great. Thank you. And thank you, folks, for joining us today. Have a good rest of your afternoon.
All right. Bye, you guys.